Gen Z and millennials are lonely, broke, and burnt out. And in this video, you're gonna find out why this happened, how this happened, and the artist who saw it all coming over 70 years ago. What's up, bro? You wanna do an interview?
Sure.
So, are you lonely?
I don't even know anymore.
Did we know this was gonna happen? You know, just modernity in general. We're all broke, stretched thin between gigs, jobs, and side hustles, spending 12 hours a day in front of screens, endlessly entertained yet endlessly guilty, all while older generations paint us as lazy, confused brats, too obsessed with avocado toast and gender to start a family. I'd love to have 5 kids. It's just that even though I make as much as my father did, who raised my whole family on a single income, I can barely afford my rent. Subscribe to Art Chad so I can afford to have 5 kids. And if you subscribe to my Patreon, I might make it 7. Anyways, did we know this was gonna happen? Well, sort of. You know, it's complicated, it's also surprising. If millennials and Gen Z have anything over previous generations, it's freedom. Freedom to do anything. There are no social consequences to being single, childless, working 80 hours a week. In fact, we praise those who forego earthly pleasure to hustle their way to the top of the hierarchy. In contrast to that, the previous generational lifestyle of getting married at 25 and working the same job for 50 years sounds like living hell to us. What if you found a better job, a better partner? You could make more money. Now you can. If you're watching this, the only thing separating you from making 6 figures a year is a couple extra hours a week on the computer. That sounds like a great deal, right? Well, given the unprecedented rise in sexlessness, loneliness, and deaths of despair, it's safe to say things aren't going to plan. But before we continue to dissect Gen Z, millennials, and loneliness, let's go back to the early 1900s and look at an artist who seemed to see this all coming, who seemed to predict the future. One of the most famous American painters of all time, Edward Hopper. You want to do an interview? 1 minute? All right, so are you lonely?
Yes, I am.
Good question. I would say sometimes.
Yeah, I do not have any friends at all. Yeah, I only have one friend, and that too.
First off, who is Edward Hopper? Edward Hopper's career began in the early 20th century when he studied illustration at the New York School of Art and Design, after which he began painting advertisements. However, he transitioned to being a full-fledged artist in the 1920s, and his style is known for the distinct use of light and shadow and an unflinching portrayal of urban solitude. Here's a painting from 1927 titled Automat. A fluorescent washed figure sits in an empty restaurant looking down at nothing. Or his most famous work, 1942's Nighthawks, an instantly recognizable painting of midnight melancholy, with again use of solitary figures and liminal space. By the time Hopper painted Nighthawks, he was one of the most famous American painters. People saw something in his work they related to. But why did Hopper's scenes of solitude strike a chord with Americans? For that, it's paramount to understand the era they were painted in. God is dead. God remains dead and we have killed him. This is Nietzsche's diagnosis from his 1882 book, The Gay Science. And with this, he's speaking on the fact that belief in a divine creator could never keep existing in a society that was moving towards progress and industrialism and away from adherence to religion and faith. This shift towards progress as a goal in itself and away from religion marks the beginning of the late modern period, starting with the French Revolution in 1789 and ending with World War II. New forms of art, new architecture, new music, progress for progress' sake in the absence of God. And it is precisely here, between the 1920s and the 1960s, we find Edward Hopper's work. Let's examine another one of Hopper's works. 1953's Office in a Small City. A singular figure at a desk in a corner office gazes out the window at the rooftops of a nondescript US city. This best captures Nietzsche's sentiment about our dead God. In this work, we voyeuristically catch our figure gazing up from his to-do list, his plans, his schedules, out at an endless nothing, in a moment of suspended emptiness. This is perhaps most emblematic of Hopper's work, and it's why it struck a chord with so many Americans. Hopper's countless scenes of gas stations, unremarkable landscapes, city streets, and solitary figures represents life during modernity, when we stop planning, daydreaming, and scheming in search of progress, with the crushing self-awareness of the meaningless chaos of life, where many of us retreat back to our work, hoping to never face that nothingness again. In the absence of God, we have work, and in the absence of work, we have nothing. That is the defining characteristic of modernity. But enough of that. That's depressing. Let's fast forward to 2023.
No, I'm not lonely.
Am I lonely? No, I am not.
It's just how it is, because it's hard to find someone to get close to nowadays. I'm not alone. I have friends, but I'm lonely.
In 2023, we still find ourselves in modernity, although the isolation and atomization depicted in Hopper's paintings has accelerated. Millennials and Gen Z are the hardest working generations ever, with 25% of millennials working more than 50 hours a week and another 25% having second jobs. We're also the most educated generation ever, with 38% of millennials having secondary degrees. The data is skewed for Gen Z as half of us are under 18, but we're quickly catching up, don't worry. We are working so hard. We must be really happy and wealthy, right? That's what we're told would happen. Hustle, we'll get wealthy. We'll be happier and wealthy. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to do this, that's what's supposed to happen, isn't it? Well, despite the fact that half of us are literal children, Gen Z is the most indebted generation of all time, as well as the most mentally ill. Come on, that's our own fault, isn't it? That's on us. We did that to ourselves, didn't we? Brother, it's a mindset issue, don't you get it? You just have to hustle, adopt an abundance mindset, attract, don't chase. Read the 48 Laws of Power, read Atomic Habits, cut everyone out of your life. Stop playing video games. Every hour you're not working is lost profit. I'm sad. I work hard, but I'm still lonely and sad. Why is this? That's because we live in a burnout society. Author Byung-Chul Han's Burnout Society. In the book Burnout Society, author Byung-Chul Han offers a diagnosis of the ailments that plague Gen Z in 2023, mainly depression, ADHD, and loneliness. He argues that our society is characterized by the endless pursuit of productivity. We've simultaneously become our own masters and our own slaves. This is a major shift from the older generational modes of being, the constraints that was once put on the individual. One was once expected to fall in line with social norms, religion, nationality, class. And if you attempted to break free from those bonds, you were seen as a madman or a criminal. The difference now is that you are expected to be exceptional in every facet of life. You can be anything and do anything. Actually, when you can be everything, you should do everything.
I literally canceled a Halloween party to make this video.
And furthermore, we look down on those who aren't teeming with ambition as normies, bots, NPCs. In 2023, you're either a millionaire hustler with 8 streams of income, or you're an unambitious loser. The in-between, the regular person, the person who wants a modest lifestyle, a modest income, and to live a modest life, is slowly disappearing.
Everyone is so shy.
I can control it with my unlock. You are lonely.
I am, yeah, quite.
Why are you lonely?
Well, I got broken up with in August and I'm still not over the guy.
No, I'm not. In fact, it's my wife. So yeah, I'm not lonely.
I enjoy my alone time as well as being able to be with other people.
Now at this point, you probably think I'm just being sensationalist. I'm just being wound up for a YouTube video. A lot of anti-capitalist talking points fall in the trap of just listing basic facts but with a sad tone. Here's an example of what I mean. We live in an ever more materialistic world, free to enslave ourselves to oblivion. The human will has been carved out and replaced with the desire for capital by any means necessary. Digging our own graves with every dollar we earn. Work, loser. Just fucking work, loser. You want to own 15 Rolexes? You are free to do anything. And you're gonna lie down and rot like a fucking beta? Why are you worrying about being happy? Why are you worrying about being fulfilled? You should be making fucking money. Fucking idiot. Both these people make the same point, that we live in a society where the only goal is to make as much money as possible and you have to work yourself to death to get it. The only difference is that one is happy about it and one is sad about it. So why not just choose to be happy about it? Because that's fucking copium. You're slowly having all your free time eaten away, you're gonna be fucking happy about it? You're gonna pretend like it's your choice to hustle, like it's your choice to work 60 hours a week, you're gonna be proud of that? Hustle culture wouldn't exist if the cost of living was 30% lower. And you've been gaslit into believing that having 3 jobs is cool and makes you better than other people. Your grandparents got married in their early 20s, yet you think it's a smart business move to avoid dating to your 30s so you can get your finances on lock or some shit like that. Do you know how up you sound? In your own framework, in your own ideology, you sound like a bitch. Okay, but back to Edward Hopper. This video is titled The Artist Who Predicted the Future, and for good reason. Hopper saw this coming, and so did the culture at large. Hopper was painting his paintings in the beginning of what would eventually become a burnout society. What people often fail to realize about art is that the art we deem important represents the time it was created. It represents the zeitgeist during the time it was created. If an artist gains popularity, it's because the audience found a piece of themselves represented in their work. The atomization that is characteristic of modernity in a world without intrinsic meaning has continued to run its course, and now Hopper's work seems even more relatable. This is you. This is us. You know, and if since the 1950s, we've only continued to become more lonely, more depressed, more burnt out, then the course we're on is only going to cause these problems to accelerate. Hustle culture won't save you. Money won't save you. It didn't work then, and it's not working now. So how the do we stop this from happening?
I work all 7 days a week, which tends to make me feel lonely. I miss my family, I miss my friends.
How it is?
I miss...
Because it's hard to find someone to get close to nowadays.
I just came as an international student, so there's no much to do about it, and I don't have friends here.
But that's just the way life goes, so.
Please be my friend, please. I'm so lonely. Please be my friend.
Work, success, fame, money are a means to an end, and the end is community. This is how it was meant to be, but we lost the plot along the way somehow. We no longer ask ourselves why we want to work or get rich. We just do it because it's the easiest path that you're given when you're born in a world with no religion or common sense of truth. And that's precisely what Edward Hopper saw coming when he was making art in the mid-20th century. I'm not saying that money is evil, or that the only way to find happiness is to find God. I'm just saying that we need to figure ourselves out again. One could imagine the 20th century being like an awkward phase between what we once had and what we're gonna have in the future. And the only way to see the future is to not kill yourself.
Yes! Oh, you're making this video because you're lonely and you want me to be your friend. So you're That's so convenient.